The night was supposed to be like any other, a quiet, uneventful drive home after a long day at work. I was exhausted, mentally drained from the endless meetings and the stressful deadlines that seemed to never stop chasing me. All I wanted was to collapse into bed and forget about the world for a few hours. The city lights were flickering as I stepped into the dimly lit street, hailing a taxi without much thought. I didn't even glance at the driver as I slid into the back seat, too tired to make small talk or notice the details. I gave him my address, a simple, routine exchange. But as I settled into the plush leather seat, something shifted in the air. It wasn't anything obvious, not at first. Just a feeling, a quiet energy that began to pulse between us. His eyes met mine in the rearview mirror as he started the engine, and for a moment, the world outside seemed to fade. That brief, silent connection, almost electric, held us both for just a beat longer than necessary. I quickly looked away, feeling a rush of heat flood my cheeks. I was probably imagining it. After all, I had nothing left in me to entertain the idea of being swept up in some romantic fantasy, especially not with a stranger who happened to drive a taxi. But as the car moved, the silence stretched longer than I expected, and I found myself acutely aware of every tiny detail in the cab. The way the soft hum of the engine seemed to vibrate through my bones, the way the headlights of passing cars cast fleeting shadows on his face, making his features appear sharper, more defined. His voice broke the stillness, low and calm. "How was your day?" It was such a simple question, yet something in the way he said it made my skin prickle. His voice wasn't too deep, not too soft, just perfect. The kind of voice that could make you forget what you were saying, make you want to lean in closer just to hear more. "Exhausting," I muttered, suddenly finding myself staring at the back of his headrest instead of the view through the window. I hadn't expected to feel such an attraction, such a pull, from a random taxi driver. I tried to brush it off, focusing on the city whizzing by in the dark, but the quiet between us was growing heavier, somehow more intimate. The city lights blurred as we sped through the empty streets, and for some reason, the usual sound of the radio faded into the background. It felt like it was only the two of us in this car, this small, enclosed space, as if the world outside didn't exist. Every time I stole a glance at him in the rearview mirror, I saw that his attention was also on me, but he didn't speak. He didn't need to. His presence was loud enough, and it seemed to fill every inch of the car. I couldn't tell if it was just my mind playing tricks, or if there was something more between us, something unspoken. Whatever it was, it sent a ripple of unease through me, a strange mix of excitement and hesitation. This was not how a simple taxi ride was supposed to feel. But there was no turning back. We were already on this ride together. And with every passing minute, I could feel the tension growing. Something told me that this night, this ride, wasn't going to be as mundane as I had hoped. The ride drags on longer than I expected. The streets that normally take no time to pass seem to stretch endlessly tonight, as if the world outside is slowing down just for us. The dim lights from the occasional street lamp cast long shadows across the interior of the taxi, but it's not just the darkness that's making the air heavy. It's something else, something unspoken that's pulsing between us. At every stoplight, I notice his hand resting on the gear stick, fingers curled around it tightly, almost possessively. For a split second, I imagine those same fingers brushing against my skin. The thought comes and goes in an instant, but it's enough to make my heart skip a beat. He shifts gears smoothly, and each time his hand moves, I can't help but watch, caught in the subtle, almost imperceptible movements. It's like he's fighting the urge to do something, to reach for me or make some kind of gesture that would break this invisible barrier between us. I force myself to look out of the window, but the curiosity is too strong. Why am I even thinking like this? I glance back at him in the mirror, unsure whether he notices my lingering gaze. But then he does something unexpected. He glances over his shoulder, catching my eyes. It's quick, but it feels like a silent exchange that lasts longer than it should. His eyes aren't just scanning the road anymore. They're looking at me, really looking at me. There's something more there now, something beyond the usual professionalism of a driver. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's attraction. Or maybe it's something deeper, darker, that neither of us is ready to confront. But whatever it is, I feel it pull me in, and it leaves a flutter in my chest that I can't ignore. I shift uncomfortably in my seat, wondering why my body is reacting like this. I'm not the type of person who gives in to random attractions. Hell, I'm not even looking for anything, certainly not from a stranger in a taxi. But the chemistry between us is undeniable. Each mile we drive feels like it takes us further away from reality and closer to a place I'm not sure I want to go. I try to steady my breathing to rationalize what's happening, but the closer we get to my destination, the more the tension between us thickens. The quiet hum of the car is punctuated by his occasional glances, and I can't help but wonder if he feels the same magnetic pull that I do. There's a rhythm to the way we're moving, a dance that neither of us is acknowledging yet. But I can sense it in the way the air around us vibrates with something unspoken. The streets outside grow darker as we turn onto a quiet, almost deserted road. The familiar noise of the city fades completely, replaced by the eerie stillness of the night. The headlights cast long beams of light down the empty street, and for a moment, it feels like time has slowed down. I glance at him again, and this time, he doesn't look away immediately. His gaze lingers on me longer than before, searching, almost as if he's trying to read me, to figure out if this unspoken connection between us is real. It's in that moment, that shared silence, that I realize this isn't just a normal taxi ride. It's something more. Something neither of us is willing to admit yet, but it's there, hanging in the air between us, thick and palpable. And for the first time, I wonder if I'm ready to cross whatever line we're both teetering on. We're now far from the city center, the lights growing faint in the distance. The silence between us has stretched so long that it's almost unbearable. I glance over to see his hands tense on the steering wheel. Without warning, he pulls over to the side of the road, not near any landmarks or signs of life. My heart starts to race as he turns off the engine and looks at me, eyes intense and daring. "You've been quiet all night," he says, his voice low and husky. "Tell me, what are you really thinking?" The question hangs in the air, and my pulse quickens as his gaze deepens, locking onto me with a predatory, yet inviting intensity. I'm trapped in the car with him, the night wrapping itself around us like a suffocating blanket, thick and impenetrable. There's no escape now, not from the tension, not from the connection I'm trying so desperately to ignore. But every minute, every second, the air between us grows heavier, as though it's charged with something more powerful than either of us is willing to acknowledge. The silence in the car feels like it's vibrating with possibilities, and I can't shake the feeling that the world outside has ceased to exist. The road stretches on in front of us, but we don't move. Time seems to slow. I can feel the proximity between us as though we are magnets, drawn together despite the resistance I can't bring myself to put up. His presence is overwhelming. The soft hum of the engine seems so distant now. The world outside is nothing but a blur of lights, barely perceptible through the fogged-up windows. He inches closer, just a fraction at first, and I feel my heart leap into my throat. My body tenses, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I feel completely alive, every nerve on edge. His face is so close to mine now that I can see the faint flicker of light dancing in his eyes. I don't know if it's my pulse hammering in my ears or if it's his breath, warm against my skin, but I can feel every inch of him. Every second feels like an eternity, and yet I can't move. I should pull away. I should break the silence, say something, anything, to distance myself from this dangerous magnetic pull. But I don't. His lips are curved slightly, as if in a knowing smile, but there's something in the way his jaw tightens, like he's controlling every muscle in his body just to keep his composure. It's that tension, that barely restrained force, that pulls me in deeper. I can't look away. I'm drowning in the intensity of his gaze, searching for something in my eyes, something that tells him I'm feeling the same thing he is. But the words are stuck in my throat. I can't speak. All I can do is breathe, shallow and fast, as he moves even closer. The scent of him is intoxicating. It's subtle, not overpowering, but it gets under my skin, crawling into my senses in the most delicious way. It's a mix of something dark, maybe a hint of leather, or maybe it's just his own natural musk, and it makes my head spin. I try to steady my breathing to make sense of what's happening, but I'm losing the fight. My pulse is racing, each beat screaming at me to either run or surrender, but my body betrays me. It's like I'm rooted in place, paralyzed by the force of his proximity. His eyes never leave mine as the car slows to a crawl. We're not moving towards my destination anymore. I'm not sure what's happening, but I don't care. All I care about is the way his face is inches from mine, the way I can feel the heat radiating off him, the way he seems to be waiting for something. A sign, a move, maybe something as simple as permission to close the distance between us completely. I wonder if he can feel it too, the pulse of desire, the tension thick in the air, the way my body is trembling without my consent. Can he hear my heartbeat? Can he sense the way I'm desperately trying to control the urge to reach out, to close the gap between us once and for all? My mind screams at me to stop, to tell him to stop. But my body doesn't listen. It's as though every instinct I have is telling me to stay, to see where this moment leads, no matter the consequences. I don't move, but I don't pull away either. And in that moment, I realize there's no turning back. Not now. Not when every fiber of my being is telling me to stay. The sky is still ink dark, though hints of dawn begin to bleed at the edges. The city is asleep, wrapped in its own hush, but inside this taxi, everything is alive. The tension, the hunger, the silent confessions, we've been circling them all night. We've driven down streets I don't remember, parked in places that felt like they existed outside of time. No words were needed, just the steady thrum of breath, stolen glances, and the electric gravity that pulled us into one another's orbit. I've watched him more than I've ever watched anyone in my life. The way his jaw shifts when he concentrates on the road. The slight smirk he tries to hide when he knows I'm watching. And those eyes, dark and unreadable, always flicking to the mirror, searching for me. I don't know who he is outside this car. I don't know his full name, or where he goes when he's not ferrying strangers through the night. But I know how he looks at me. I know how he feels when he's near. And I know I've never wanted anyone this badly before. We turn the last corner before my street, and my chest tightens. The spell is breaking. My world is close now. My flat, my routine, my carefully constructed life. He slows down and pulls over at a quiet corner, just a few blocks from my building. He doesn't ask me if it's the right place. He doesn't need to. He knows. I reach for the door handle, the cold metal biting against my fingertips. My heart hammers in my chest, every beat screaming, don't go. Don't ruin this. But logic, ever the loyal friend, tries to shove me out. It was just a ride, it says. He's just a driver. You're just another passenger. But then I feel it. His hand wraps around my wrist. Firm. Warm. Unshaking. My breath catches, not from fear, but from the quiet desperation in his touch. I turn back to him, and our eyes meet. His expression is open now, unguarded. There's no smirk, no tension, just raw vulnerability and something else, something dangerously close to longing. You don't have to go yet, he says, voice low, rich with things unsaid. It's barely above a whisper, but it hits me like a thunderclap. My body freezes. My thoughts scatter. Because in that moment, it's not just about sex or heat or even loneliness. It's about connection, rare, frightening, magnetic. I let my hand fall away from the handle. He leans in slowly, like he's afraid I'll vanish if he moves too fast. His fingers slide along my jaw, sending shivers across my skin. My heart's beating so loud I can't hear the city anymore. And then finally, his lips meet mine. It isn't rushed. It isn't a collision. It's slow, achingly slow, like he's trying to memorize the feel of me. And I melt into him, giving in to the moment, the night, and all the reckless desire that's been building between us. I don't care that it's irrational. I don't care that it's just one night. Because this kiss, this moment, is unforgettable. And I don't want it to end. He continues. It isn't rushed. It isn't a collision. It's slow, achingly slow, like he's trying to memorize the feel of me. And I melt into him, giving in to the moment, the night, and all the reckless desire that's been building between us. I don't care that it's irrational. I don't care that it's just one night. Because this kiss, this moment, is unforgettable. And I don't want it to end. His hand finds the back of my neck, fingers threading through my hair like it's something fragile, something sacred. The city around us hums quietly, the world blurring into nothing but the heat between us, the unspoken confessions tangled in the air. When he finally pulls back, it's only enough to press his forehead to mine. His breath brushes my lips, trembling real. I've been waiting for this, he whispers, voice rough with emotion. Longer than you know. I open my mouth to speak, but he hushes me with a soft smile, eyes glistening under the streetlights. No promises. No pressure, he says. Just, let's not pretend this isn't real. I nod because words are too heavy, too clumsy for something so delicate. He takes my hand, gentle, tentative, and laces our fingers together. Come home with me, he says, barely more than a breath. Not just for tonight. Let's figure this out. Slowly. Properly. I laugh, a soft, broken sound that feels like hope cracking through the fear. I was hoping you'd say that. And somehow, without fanfare or fireworks, everything feels right. Like maybe, after all the wrong turns, after all the almosts and could-have-beens, we've finally found something worth holding on to. Something worth staying for. As we walk down the quiet street, hands still tightly intertwined, I realize. It's not just one night. It's the beginning of everything.